Good morning, friends. Today we are going to learn the second part of The Failing of the Banyan Tree, the poem by Dilip Chitre. In the previous part, we learned about the writer's introduction, how he is a prolific writer, he is a bilingual poet, and he translated work of great saint poet Tukaram, and his famous work, that is an anthology of Marathi poetry 1945 to 1965. In first part we learned about the biographical details and what is the theme of the poem, how there is a failing of the banyan tree, and as a child narrator described in very detail. If we read the poem, we can understand how it said from the banyan tree was 3 times as tall as our house, and 50 men with axes chopped and chopped. These sentences from the poem told us that how writer is involved in that particular tree, and he is very scared because the tree is falling down. Now, in this next part, we can learn the imagery. The imagery is clear. The great banyan, helpless to resist, is hacked and at by dozens of men. It's like something out of a battle or war. In fact, this failing does seem to foretell the coming environmental struggles that are still ongoing globally, but especially in countries like India, so used to wilderness, but now having to cope with industry, new economics, and expanding populations. Here we can understand how the global warming is responsible, is happened because of the cutting of the trees and disastrous situations in the nature. The day before example, the situation of the falling of the ice in Uttarakhand. Here we can compare this situation with the failing of the banyan tree. How this is to foretell the coming environmental struggles that are still ongoing globally. The speaker has two emotions, terror and fascination, the former based on sadness and fear for the future, the latter on the awesome sight of the massive tree come crashing to the ground, revealing its rings and ancient history. Its rings shows us that is called what is the age of that tree, that the great tree revealed its rings of 200 years. The tree was 200 years back. Due to its rings, scientifically we can understand what is the age of that tree. The family moves to the city, and the speaker now is hard hit, it seems, for the only trees available are those in the subconscious. But his tree, but this tree is angry. See this, perhaps because of the way the move has happened, and there is no telling if the roots will find what they need, nourishment from the earth. In it, we can understand how the tree is create a terror and fascination in the writer, in the poet. If we read out the last part of the poem, we can understand how the tree is cut down, and writer says in the last two lines, which grows and seethes in warm streams, its aerial roots. Now we can also compare those trees and imagine those trees, those kind of trees in our imagination and in only our dreams, because we can't see those kind of trees nowadays. And if we see that kind of huge tree, we are fascinated with it and we feel surprised for it. So there is lots of trees like banyan trees in the on the earth, but now writer says in the last line, which grows and seethes in our dreams only now, and its serial roots looking for the ground to strike. If you see the banyan tree, the roots again went back to the earth. So here we can understand, and there is no telling if the roots will find what they need, nourishment from the earth. What are the literary devices in this poem? The Failing of the Banyan Tree is a free verse poem of 3 stanzas with 25 lines in total. There is no set rhyme scheme, and the meter in American English varies somewhat, bringing different rhythms to each line. If we read, each line is a different connotation and different meaning, and there is no particular rhyme scheme is used for the poem. We can uh, see that it is a written poem in the pre-verse. Theme in the poems. See, this the central theme is uprootedness, the idea of leaving a family home. The secondary theme is that of ecosystems and their destruction, specifically that of failing tree to for profit in the name of progress. In the poem, the two are inextricably linked. The speaker moving home coincides with the tree being cut down. The two are fused together. So, uprootedness and the ecosystems and their destruction are the major themes in this poem, and specifically that of failing trees for profit in the name of progress. What is the theme, tone of the poem? The style is conversational, as if the speaker is relaying the tale of the banyan tree to a family member or a friend. It is like a short story being told. Overall, the tone is matter of fact, tinged with slight sadness and even anger at the thought of the tree being cut down, effectively killed. See how the poem is conversational. We read the poem like a story and we get attached to that particular event of the cutting of the banyan tree, and we can understand tone of the poem is very much sad as well as angry for that cutting of the banyan tree. Language and diction. Use of languages. Note the use of words that reinforce the idea of a masculine versus feminine theme of destruction versus conservation. Demolished, massacred, removed, terror, slaughter. Those words are used for the human beings, but here it is applied to the tree, and the particular diction is used by the writer. Again, the words like sacred, deeper, revealed, fascination. Here we can understand how the words feminine and masculine are used for the cutting of the banyan tree. On the one hand, it is a very much emotional poem. On the other hand, it creates anger in our mind for the cutting of the trees. We feel that we should not cut the trees and save our environment for our future generations and for your future development as well. Metaphor. What is the metaphor used in the poem? The banyan tree is a metaphor for the speaker's family history. It shows the family history that banyan tree is also a long year back, that is 200 years old. In the Hindu religion, the banyan tree, Vatavruksha, is a symbol of the triumvirate of Lord Vishnu, the bark, that is Brahma, the roots, and the Lord Shiva, the branches. It brings life and fertility to the nature. This deeper religious significance adds another layer of meaning to the poem. It is, we can say that metaphorically, it told us the family roots, and how the writer went to the Baroda to Bombay and talking about the family roots through that banyan tree. So here we can understand the poem is about the felling of the banyan tree, where it creates the environmental consciousness among us, and on the other hand it shows us the theme of uprootedness and the uh, theme of the saving of the nature. So we can understand through this poem, the poem is about the life history of the writer and his emotional attachment is with that particular tree. So here I used the source ncrt.nic.in textbook PDF Q120 PDF. So in this next part we will learn the next part of this module, that is module number 4, Kabuliwala. Till try to see the movie Kabuliwala and you can understand what is the exact story of Kabuliwala in your textbook, which is almost 10 to 11 pages, and read out the read out the short story Kabuliwala by Rabindranath Tagore. Till then, thank you.